Hola, Fethu. Welcome once again to the Ballers Hub. My name is Udlamini Lefate, and with me is Utami. Ukraine, man.
Excellent, Fatang. We are back, my brother.
Gimnand. It's another exciting episode. We are previewing the Orlando Pirates versus MC Alger match from yesterday. Orlando Pirates winning 1-0. Before Nje, we have many questions that we want to go through the stats. It's simply amazing how Orlando Pirates won that match. You look at the position, 68-32. The shots, 21 MC Alger. Orlando Pirates 4. Corner kicks, 8 MC Alger. Orlando Pirates 0. So what was your thoughts on the game?
My brother, I think if I were to be honest, I expected that and more. And actually, it's exactly how I anticipated the game. Remember, MC Alger decided to change to take the game to the bigger stadium, not their normal home field. And I think they took it to a 60,000 capacity stadium. The atmosphere was amazing. It was intimidating. The fans, the lasers, typical North African team at the stage of the CAF Champions League. Now back to the field. We were under siege. Orlando Pirates was under siege from the word go. I mean, it was save after save for China, and credit must go to the defense. I know that people are saying much about how Van Roy did not play well, and I agree, of course, especially in the second half, because I don't know what was happening, especially when it comes to his clearances and decision making. He had a very, very poor second half. But as a team, I will say this again, Lefat. We always speak about this, you and myself. CBC for me is currently the best centre back in South Africa. Or if
No
not,
doubt.
the best centre back currently playing in Africa, if I were to be honest with you. And then you have the young Bogazi, the Nevo still. I mean, how do you, at the age of 19, go to Algeria and have such confidence? I think South African football at this moment in time, when you think of Mbogazi, we think of Ukoza. I cannot wait to see that pair. And you still have Sesane was injured. It's great times, it's beautiful times for South African football. And then Ukogi, we've been saying so much. I don't think he had a bad game at all. And I expected exactly what I expected from him. I wanted him to be vocal. I needed him to win the aerial battles, and he did exactly that. And I mean, I think it's been a while since we have had a more consistent player than Hoto and Orlando Pirates. It doesn't matter where you play him. It doesn't matter the formation. It doesn't matter the system. You play a back four, he will deliver for you. And I think he's at home when you are playing a back three because it's up and down with that energy. And I've already said much about Van Rooyen. And they go to Makawula. I wonder how we're going to replace that guy at 35. The amount of distance he covers. I think in this CAF Champions League from the group stages, I don't think there's any player that's covered much more than him. And then we have the evergreen. I think he's coming back to his old self. I'm talking about Talent Mbata.
How impressed were you? How impressed were you with Umbata, especially in the first half? I think he was our best player. I'm not sure, but I think he was our best player in the first half.
My brother, I think, sometimes a coach changes something and then it brings back certain players into form. Remember before we played Mamelodi Sundowns, Umbata was not there. But now I'm looking at the back three formation or back five, depending on whether we have the ball or not. It suits him very well because it allows him to play more. Remember, I'll still emphasize, this gives the freedom to both Umbata and Makawula. I was very disappointed. I need to point this out. I was very disappointed with our attacking form when we had the ball because obviously we had to play in transition. And for me, Udamini did not do it for me. And even we need to be honest because even though Rene, but we knew they were going to play against Rene. Rene was probably the best player in the group stages, so they planned around him. So he expected Udamini to lead it forward. I can't fault Makopa. I know there's always much being said about him, whether he's supposed to start or not. But in terms of the game itself, I think Udamini led us down in terms when we had the ball in transition. And really could not breathe. I could see those Algerians. For a second, whenever he has the ball, they were quick on him. So all in all, the defense was amazing, my brother. Before we get to the technical side of things, it was superb.
Maybe before we get to the tactical parts of things, I want to talk about Mofokeng per se. He didn't have the
Mm.
greatest of games yesterday, but
But I
he
will
got
tell
an
you
assist.
something.
How good is that boy?
Let me tell you something, my brother. He has reached a level where he knows that he carries Orlando Pirates. He has reached a level at that age. And I
Yeah,
think it's about time in South Africa we stop this thing of saying we should not praise youngsters. We're going to, no. When you're good, you're good. I'm going to tell you, cause at Mamelodi Sundowns is good.
yeah.
Mbogazi is good. And Jose has got, when it's come to timing at when to play to play this players. Yes, probably the only player that was put in the deep end is Umbokazi, because remember, I think Uxoyi had a very bad game, and then against Chipa United, Jose decided, you know what, let me put this boy Umbokazi. But us supporters and lovers of Orlando Pirates, we've always known that the boy is ready. Back to Relebohile, you know why Jose is the best coach currently.
Mm, yeah.
Probably the best coach at Orlando Pirates since the days. Yes, there's going to be a debate around about Mitch and whatnot, but we speak numbers. We speak since the days of the tribute. He knows when to substitute a player. A quality player only needs one moment. Relebohile needed one moment, and he made that brilliant assist. The weight
Mm,
of the pass, the run, they understand each other. So when you speak of Relebohile, you're speaking of a quality player. You're speaking of a player that knows that it's going to be difficult for him, but it's not. You know what I love about him, Lefat? He gets kicked in, but you never see him complaining, what and whatnot, because he understands that he's the best attacking player at Orlando Pirates currently, and that's going
yeah.
to happen. We were playing CAF Champions League quarterfinals. It was indeed going to be like that. They played around him, but he got one assist, and we got we got the goal that we needed. And then when the time was right, Jose said, "Okay, my boy, I will take you out."
No, he is definitely for me the best coach in South Africa and maybe one of the best in Africa, if not the best. Let us now go to the tactical part of the game. It is said
Mm.
which all the Pirates often plays a back five, but for me, I think it changes. The tactical flexibility is something that you can clearly see in position of the ball. I think we switch back into a back three, and then we push our wing backs with Dion Horton or Diano Van Rooyen to like try and occupy the wing. How does Jose Rivero use that system? No matter how did he use that system, especially in yesterday's game, to make sure that he gets a result away?
My brother, it's exactly how you put it. I think many people are obviously it's a game of opinions, right? But
Yeah,
from my point of view, we are playing a 3-4-3 formation. It's not a big five.
yeah,
We have the three center backs, your left center back Mbogazi, your center back Usbisi, and your right center back Okoki. And then if I were to use the size of the pitch, I would say central line on the ends of the center line, you've got your Van Rooyen, you've got your Hoto. And then in the middle, you don't have, sometimes you can just say 3-1-3 something, because Makaula would then come like next to Smith. However, to put it clearly, then you would have, once you have the wing backs in the corners of the center line, then you would have the two, Umbata and Makaula. That's how we play off the ball. That's exactly how we put ourselves. That is why I'm saying when we had the ball, that is why Udlamini was letting us down. Udlamini is normally exceptional with the first half. With the first touch, but it was not there on the night. Because
yeah,
now when we had the ball, we had to look at him. But to answer your question, it's a 3-4-3. Yes, obviously, depending on the phases of the game, or when you are actually squeezed in, it means now Holto and Van Rooyen become the right and left back, and then we become a five. But the
yeah.
formation set, it's a 3-4-3 formation, my brother.
Mm. And then, can you please explain to us the role of Mofokeng in that formation? Because sometimes you will see him as like a double striker with him in Mahopa. Sometimes you will find him running around with Mahopa. Maybe can you explain their roles? Because they seem like to exchange a position in different phases of the game.
You see now, the positives about this formation. We have the ball now. What does it mean? It means if you're playing on the left, we're shifting right. It means Hoto will be what? Our left winger, if I were to say. What does it
Mm.
mean for really now? It means he becomes the second striker. He becomes a false nine. This is why it was easy for him to score those 2 goals against Mamelodi Sundowns, because it becomes the first 9, because we have who? We have Makopa dropping or going wide to the side, depending on the phases of the game. If it means we're attacking more on the left, Makopa adds in, becomes, of course, the focal point is the number 9, and then really next to him, and then you expect a Dlamini. If Dlamini is playing, then you expect a Tito to add so that we have 3. That's how it does. It's the same goes for when we have the ball on the right. It means we now have the right winger, because it's the right wing back, Van Rooyen. It means we now have Mahopa inside the box, and Reda with 8. So in this formation, it allows Reda to become a number 10. It allows Reda to become a second striker.
Yeah. In the 60th minute, Jose Rivero decides then to bring on Umuha Nkota in place of Ukabelo Dlamini. And then, of course, like 7 minutes later, Nkota goes on to score the goal. Maybe what was the tactical twitch of Jose Rivero replacing Dlamini with Nkota? Because you can tell, Uti, they are totally different in how they play, but it worked.
I will tell you something, my brother. Jose is very smart. He could see now we are starting to have the ball. You understand? We're starting to have the ball. However, it means we needed somebody who's going to be brave. We need the speed. We needed somebody who's got an eye for goal. I think there was a time you and I were talking, and I said Musena must come in for Dlamini. But you know, the great Jose said no. He had other ideas. And for us, people would go on and say Taino was the man of the match. My man of the match was the coach. Those subs were superb. The timing of the substitution was spot on. Now, back to the point. I think people need to remember one thing. This boy Nkota at MTC, he was very, very dangerous and excellent playing as a false 9. Let me tell you something. On the ground, go and check that goal again. The defender was here, but on the ground, the balance of the boy on the ground, if you understand. On the ground, that's amazing. So in other words, this was a brilliant, because he knew, Jose could see that, okay, now, we are going to get chances, but I need speed. I need somebody to run on the shoulders of these defenders. I think that's something that we need to take home when we're playing in the second leg. Yes, I think this team is going to be brave, but now the decision will be on Jose whether to start with Nkota or not. And for me, I'm going to start him if I was Jose, because of the fact that I've already seen that their defenders are very slow. I've already seen that they play hard line, and I've already seen they're very comfortable on the ball and they want to score. Therefore, you need to use the same tactic with Nkota.
You are talking about the second leg. Let us go on. See the second leg, Valley. In the second leg, we might see a Tito Maswanganyi being back. You are talking about a Mohau Nkota. We don't know what is happening with Munapule Saleng. Now, the question would be, do you go back and play the same formation, or you go back to the original formation that the Orlando Pirates has been playing this season, the 4-2-3-1, seeing as it's a home game? And then another question to you is, do you now then bring in Etsegofatso Mabasa in place of Mahopa, because we'll have more position of the ball?
The formation, you don't change it all. There is a reason behind the formation.
Yeah.
I think people need to understand that. It was more of course, it came against Mamelodi Sundowns, wanting to make Sundowns pound for pound, but also, truth must be told, it was a case of trying to accommodate both Ukogi, because he was off form, and also the young Ogazi against the big guns. Remember, an away goal changes everything. If MC Alger comes to South Africa, gets an early away goal in the first 10 minutes, we're already panicking. So why change the winning formula? You don't change the big 3. You maintain the big 3. You play, even still start Van Rooyen, because I believe with the support and setup. I've seen some of his runs. If you remember against Gallants, when we won 8-1, you must watch the game again. The runs was making inside the box. We will be needing that. And with the big 3, why more? You will be going more and more, and because we're gonna have the ball, more of the ball. Now, you ask another question, Mabasa or Makopa. I'm playing at home. I need a goal to put these guys under pressure. I start Mabasa. Mabasa starts for me. We're gonna have the ball. In other words, we can have more balls in the box. Not what happened. We're gonna have corners. I think we did not even have a corner against these guys. So in other words, we start Mabasa. But now, Nkota, you have a Tito. I'll say you're at home, Orlando Stadium is fully packed. Tito Kumele Kibele. You started deep. Tito is the heart and soul of Orlando Pirates. And
Yeah.
I think we've already seen that formation gives the freedom to that number 10. And who is better than Tito at Orlando Stadium? I don't know, my brother. There is no one.
No, I know. I fully agree with Tito. He's what they call him, the energy generator. He brings energy into the team, and especially with a fully packed Orlando Stadium, we definitely need a Tito Maswangani there. Maybe my last question would be to you, Muhau Nkotha. You said you would play him. Are you then taking out a Diano van Rooyen or in place? Because if you are bringing in a Tito Maswangani, that means Ulhamini is not playing. Nkotha is playing on the right.
I think I see a surprise. We know Jose. Jose, remember it was our first game against these people. And I know that we've got brilliant analysts. I wouldn't be surprised even if Tito starts on the bench, you see him a quarter playing that where Jamin was playing. Why not? However, if now I were to choose, if I were to decide, I would still have Quarter coming from the bench. There is no way I will not play a face Tito at Orlando Stadium. All I'm going to say is that this is CAF Champions League. Orlando Pirates, heart and faithful supporters, they need to go and fill up Escutini. This is where they needed the most. This is where we need to sing from the first whistle until the last. This is where you need Tito to Alkibele, allow him to play. This is where you need. Now you're going to see the best of Relebohile at Orlando Stadium.
Aye. Thank you very much, Tammy. This has been the Orlando Pirates versus MC Alger post-match analysis. But don't forget to subscribe on the Ballers Hub YouTube channel. We're also on TikTok, Ballers Hub on TikTok. Yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next time.